So, very good morning ladies and gentlemen from me here in my little park next to my accommodation, and I am doing the normal walk to the bus stop to get into town. It's become a sort of daily routine. So, heading into town now, and today's video we are going to give you a comprehensive guide of the city of St John's in absolutely stunning weather. The temperature today is due to be 24 degrees Celsius, which is a massive difference in comparison to yesterday, where it only got as warm as 8 degrees Celsius. So I'm looking forward to spending all day outside in this beautiful Canadian sunshine. But what we're going to do now is we're going to head to the bus stop. I won't really film the bus journey because there's nothing really to see from it. So the next time you see me, we'll be in Jelly Bean Row. Come on guys, let's explore. So we've arrived here at the downtown area, and today we are going to go around the city centre. We're going to explore the area on foot. And the first place we're going to check out is of course the famous multicoloured houses. Now they are dotted everywhere, but in the downtown area you have a high amount of them in a small space. So let's take a look at these typical Canadian streets. Today is the 12th of June 2025 and it's a Thursday, and we've got out of the house pretty early today, so the streets are pretty quiet, but that is going to give us a full filming day, as I plan to film 3 other episodes today apart from this one. So let's get straight into it and let's check out St John's downtown. Come on. So guys, welcome to Jelly Bean Row. Now there's not a specific row for these multicoloured houses. They are dotted across the city. In fact, actually bears a story, quite a sad story of this city. In the 1800s, the majority of this city was burnt to the ground. So these new builds here are these wooden houses, but the local council, the local town government, make sure the residents paint their houses in these multi-coloured colours, and I think it makes the place absolutely fantastic. Looks so wonderful. Wherever you are in the city you see these multi-coloured houses. So yeah, what we're going to do now is we're going to make our way past these rows of houses, the Jelly Bean Row. We're going to make our way down into the downtown area, where we're going to take a look at the city in a closer light. Come on. I think these houses look absolutely stunning. I love the design, and there are plenty of interesting buildings just like this one here in St John's. I believe this is the police station, and we can also see people very patriotically flying their Canadian flags from their houses. So it's a place where they are very proud to be Canadian, and you felt that when you were here in Newfoundland. But let's take a look at some flagpoles now, and the NATO statue. We can see the UN flag on the left hand side, the NATO flag on the right hand side, and the Canadian flag in the centre. And it is such a beautiful day. I cannot get over how the weather has changed from yesterday, from 8 degrees to 24 degrees. I love to see this place slap bang in the middle of the summer season. I bet the weather is absolutely fantastic, with highs of around 24 or 25 degrees every single day. Look at this funnily painted fire hydrant. I bet a lot of the locals thought I was very weird filming this, but this is not something we see in Europe, so I had to take a shot. But look at these stunning houses. Can you imagine living here in this beautiful, peaceful city? We also have the cathedral here, and we also have signs throughout the city for people who want to take part in heritage walks or history walks of the city. But if you know me and you know the channel, we are just gonna free roam, play it by ear, and absolutely wing it. But we've made our way into the downtown area. Now the downtown area is made up of about 3 or 4 main streets here. The first one being Water Street right here. And it's called Water Street, of course, because the port's the next street along. So, well, I think that's the reason it's called Water Street. Let's just assume so anyway. And this is the main high street of St John's. This is where you will find the majority of shops, restaurants, banks, just everything you'd expect to find in a city centre. So let's take a pan around. You can see those typical sidewalks, not pavements as we say across the pond. And we have this beautiful mural of the fire we spoke about earlier in this video. It actually started in 1892 and it destroyed the majority of the city. So very interesting, and I'm sure you can find out more about that event online on Wikipedia or somewhere. But let's get back into exploring the city and look at these fantastic streets. You really do feel like you're in North America, and you've got a lot of shops here, a lot of bars and breweries, and we're actually going to head up and check out one of the main bar streets. There is sort of a party street here in St John's, but I'll explain a little bit more about that in a second. We also have this fantastic statue here at the bottom of George Street. Very nice to see. And we have the Yellow Belly Brewery. I did visit there on my first night and it was very, very good. So guys, we're taking a walk along George Street here now, and believe it or not, St John's has its own party strip, just like Ibiza, just like Ayia Napa. This is it, George Street. This is the home to all the pubs and the nightlife. I haven't had the chance to sample it just yet, but maybe tonight will be the night that I'll come out and enjoy the nightlife here. It is one of our last nights here anyway, so maybe that's the thing to do this evening. Let's see how much we spend. But yeah, absolutely fantastic street. It's absolutely pedestrianised. There's something like, I don't know, 50 or 60 bars just on this one street. So yeah, fantastic guys, let's check it out. I always have great plans when it comes to what I'm going to do with my night, but what actually happens is normally not a lot. I very rarely leave the hotel or accommodation, and this was the case on a couple of occasions or on a couple of nights here in St John's. But let's take a look at George Street. It's not impressive now because it isn't 2 o'clock in the morning or 11 o'clock at night. It is the daytime. But if you have a look around at all these bars, they've got some fantastic deals on it, something to think about. So if we go past this, you can see they've got a deal called Toonie Tuesdays. That's $2 beers on a Tuesday, which works out as £1 British sterling. So it could be a very, very cheap night if you plan your night out here in George Street well. We also have an O'Reilly's, which is quite common to find all across the globe. Almost every Irish pub is called O'Reilly's, and even the one I go to in Gibraltar is also called O'Reilly's also. So there we are, very popular name, but we can see there are a ton of bars on this street and lots of entertainment here. But if we just go behind George Street, we are going to come across the City Hall. Now this is a very interesting building. We can see the Newfoundland, the Canadian flag and the city flag flying, and you can also see this is the financial hub of town with them skyscrapers there in the distance, and of course a bar nearby. Well, there we are guys, lots of watering holes here in St John's. Be interesting to see what it's like in the night time. As I said, I might pop out down here tonight. There's loads of happy hour offers, $5 pints, which I work out as £2.50 sterling. So yeah, that could be a good video. See how much we spend on all the happy hours, although I can't promise that. After a beer I don't really like to go on camera. But yeah, let's continue our little stroll around the city centre here in St John's, and I think we can all agree this is somewhere special. It is a very, very cool and funky city indeed. But what we're going to do now is we're going to head to the port area, and let's just take a look at the docks, at the boats and vessels and ships that are in, and just be by the water for a few minutes. And as I say, that's another great thing about St John's. You're never too far away from the coastline, even if you are in the city centre. And we can see Signal Hill in the distance there. We walked up to Signal Hill a few days ago. You can see the video on the channel of that adventure if you haven't seen it already. We can see some fishing boats here. I'm sure this place is very popular for tuna when it is not our season over in the Spain-Gibraltar area. So that would be, I guess, January, December must be the tuna season. If you know, let me know in the comments. I'd be very interested. So one of the most vital industries to St John's relies on one important place in the city, and that's here. This is St John's Harbour. Now this is a natural deep harbour just behind me, and it's big enough to facilitate cargo ships, cruise ships, all the way down to these small fishing vessels and tourist boats. So yeah, the city really depends on this harbour, and it's absolutely stunning down here. As I've said a couple of times in the video, we've been very, very lucky with the weather. So let's take a closer look at the harbour, and I think that'll be that for our city centre tour. Come on. So let's take another scan at this beautiful, beautiful harbour here. Lovely green, luscious backdrop there in the distance. So we can see over there we've got some industrial sites. Also the Coast Guard is situated in this harbour, as I mentioned, and you can see those white and red boats in the distance. They belong to the Canadian Coast Guard. So in fact there's a few dotted all across this harbour, so if you keep your eyes out you'll be able to spot them. But let's take a look at what faces onto the harbour from the roadside. And you've got a couple of hotels in the distance there. You've got St John's Fish Exchange, which obviously is a fish and seafood restaurant. If we have a look here, you've got the boats, and to our left hand side I think we have another bar. Those are the Coast Guard boats I was talking about earlier. We can see some very lovely designed vessels. And this is another bar restaurant you've got here on the waterside, so I can imagine in the summertime this is an absolutely lovely place just to come down and sit out and enjoy the Canadian sunshine. So there we are, guys. I thought I'd end the video there, here with St John's Harbour as the backdrop. I hope you enjoyed our walk today around St John's city centre. I've said it so many times on this video, but what an incredible place. It's definitely worth visiting. On the next episode I'll be coming to you from a different location in this city, so we're not done with the St John's content just yet. But from me here in St John's Harbour, thank you for watching as always, guys, and I shall see you all on the next adventure.